And we are live and happen. Oh, just get that out of my system before I go live. Oh, wait. I didn't. Ew, what's that in my drink? A hair or a bug? Or just a random bit of fluff? If I were a paranoid man, let me throw out my drink. But I'm not paranoid. Not saying I'm gross either, but you know, you can fucking handle my shit, is what I'm saying. Oh, the taste of the tropics. Probably should. It's just got the one juice in that, the blood orange juice, which technically is not tropical. I think oranges and blood oranges are a temperate fruit, not a tropical fruit. I should put some pineapple or something just to give myself a fruity treat. I'm in the mood to be fruity and treated. Another day. I'll take a bit more trouble because I've got all sorts of things. I've got coconut I could put in it and pineapple and grapefruit. I could make a real fruit cocktail. Seems like a lot of trouble though. Maybe. Invisible Chicken, hello, good evening, bienvenue, and bonjour to you as well, well-gifted Aspie. Okay, now that adjusted it too much. I'm going to do that. Oh, wait, I think I can do that. Trying to do minute adjustments and it doesn't work. Kirsten, happy end of financial year. Yes, I just got my $2,500 worth of computer upgrades in before the end of the financial year so I could claim the government's business tax write-off boondoggle because I am a business rather than a mere human. I am also a corporate entity through my work as a contractor. And it really was like Saturday. My accountant called me and said, oh, hey, if you've got money, you should spend some because the government's got that instant tax write-off thingy for work-related expenses. I think he was basically suggesting, do you want to buy a car? I don't want to buy a car. No, my car is good. Thank you very much. But I finally pulled the pin and got some expensive computer upgrades that will seems like they're probably going to arrive this week. Might even be able to get some help to upgrade on the weekend. Who knows? Might be more prone to make videos if they render quickly. Your old account got banned on Reddit for being extra. Well, they just banned a fuck ton of people of the actual subreddits, notably The Donald, and some left ones like Chapo Trap House and Cumtown. I don't think Cumtown really counts as left. That was just obnoxious. And white supremacist Stefan Molyneux got banned from YouTube. Ha ha, fucking ha. Oh gosh, Kirsten, waiting for the final posting your stock takes. Oh my God, you must be so glad to be past that. Yes, Musical Aviator, Lockdown V2 in a range of Melbourne suburbs starts at midnight tomorrow. Oh, hopefully it works. Hopefully it's just, we know from experience doing this level of lockdown works. Hopefully it'll work again. And inside of a month, stuff will be under control. And then we can look on with horror at the outside world about countries that are fucking going down in flames. Yes, I agree, David. Stefan Mulenuts sucks. He's fucking into phrenology, that wanker. Oh, okay, Kirsten. You're waiting for the final posting you stock take, then huge martini. You got to do it James Bond Vesper style. That's 3 shots of gin, 1 shot of vodka, and half a shot of, well, whatever you choose. He says it's Quina Lillet, which doesn't exist anymore. Some people say, and in fact, from what I've been told, the people who make Lillet Blanc say Lillet Blanc is the same as Quina Lillet. We just changed the name. Other people argue that it isn't. And The substitute I have, because I made a James Bond Vespa martini for a video a little while back, I used Coca Americano, which a lot of people say is a good approximation of Kina Lillet. Philip, you are in Essendon, surrounded by quarantine zones. Well, my friend, put out the barbed wire is all I can say. Get armed patrols. I love that just as a random comment, Lee. Absinthe. Yes, absinthe indeed. Not in a martini. I mean, I don't have an objection to absinthe anywhere, but it wouldn't be a martini if you did that in there. David, if I ever make money, I will actually, you know what? I will ask my accountant, say, hey, if I'm trying to start a business where I have an educational video series making cocktails, can I claim the booze as an expense for putting that together? I will ask. It might be. God, I'll be really annoyed if it was possible and I could have claimed all of that. It's a few $1,000s. Dangerously talented in the West Berlin of the western suburbs. Oh, yes. Yeah, whenever you see someone on the street, go, papers, please. Show me your papers. Why are you on the street? What accent is that supposed to be? I can't do accents. No matter what accent I try to do, I just sound like I'm insulting somebody. AIDSy does accents. I don't do accents. Fun bit of trivia, Lee. Absinthe in a martini turns it into an Oyoko. That's nice. Absinthe, I'm going to try something because this week has been relatively easy to come up with themed videos for my cocktail channel. The one I put up today, the Mai Tai, because today is Mai Tai day. It's the one I made on the stream last night, and then I drank the Mai Tai on the stream, and it was yummy. So I got the video up for Mai Tai day today. And of course, it's the 4th of July on the weekend. So I'm going to do American-themed cocktail. And in fact, I was going to ask for some feedback on this. If I'm going to do a 4th of July cocktail video, thinking like quintessential American cocktails, I could do multiple cocktails for the one video. I've done that many times. And I was even thinking of maybe doing 3, and there'd be East Coast, West Coast, and the South. Because I think the quintessential East Coast, New York cocktails. Jesus, I forgot the word cocktail. That's really bad. I think the quintessential New York cocktails are the martini and the Manhattan. They're the classy ones anyway. So I could do, and I've done martini recently, so I think I'd do a Manhattan. And West Coast is tiki. So there's a million tiki drinks to choose from. And because I've made my own cream of coconut, I think I might do a pina colada. I want to experiment that tonight. And Kirsten, I think I should do Mahalo. I honestly think I should ask Henry sometime, would you be upset if I actually ripped off your idea for a YouTube series, Funniest Home Videos, Funniest Home Cocktails? Live stream Kirsten and I watch all the time. As a game the host Henry plays with his guest. There's this truly terrible cocktail channel from, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago from mahalo.com. And they have this woman making the cocktails, and it's like everything she says and does is wrong. And if you actually follow her advice, you will make fucking terrible cocktails. And so Henry always gets the guests, because she free pours, almost always free pours, and gets the guests like, you got to line up the booze, you've got to pour with her, you've just got to watch her and pour with her. You can't measure all that. So the drinks always end up terrible. Funniest Home Cocktails. Yeah, I'm very tempted to ask Henry if he'd mind if I rip that off to do it for YouTube. Oh my God, David, I saw that Sacha Baron Cohen's latest stunt because he puts himself in fucking danger. He masked at a Trump rally or a far right rally. He pretended to be this racist country and western singer just to get the crowd to sing along with horrible racist shit he was saying. And of course they did. But yeah, he puts himself in danger with stuff he does. Mega Leech, hello, sir. Good evening. Yes, Kirsten, that's the big impediment. Well, two big impediments. One, it was someone else's idea. Two, such a waste of booze. Although I'd always find a way to reclaim. You know what I'd do with all of them? I think I'd milk clarify them. You end up with this horrible fucking drink. You go, okay, what does it need? I'll balance it out. Make sure there's some citrus in it. Then milk clarify it, and it'd be 10 times better. It was still not necessarily great, but it'd be a lot better. Speaking of milk clarifying, I did want to try an experiment while we were talking because I'm not sure how well it will work. So, what do we want to do? Want to wet a coffee filter for a start. Yes, Peter, you're right. Sacha Baron Cohen has interviewed a terrorist. He seems to not give a fuck. He really doesn't. Okay, I'm just going over here for a sec. I got to run some water through this coffee filter because I don't know if it's really what made the last coconut milk clarified drink taste nice, or I don't know if I'm being superstitious, basically. But I'm going to do it. So I'll be with you directly. Just need to thoroughly wet this. Rinse off the. This was Stella's suggestion, and I think it worked. I ended up with a nice drink anyway, so I'll just let that run through. So, when I made the pina colada with coconut milk, it worked. It worked really well. Then I used my coconut milk. I made this stuff, which is cream of coconuts, basically coconut milk and sugar. So I won't need to add any sugar syrup to this because that's 50% sugar. Where's the ratios? Here's the ratios. Pineapple, lime. Oh, yeah, a little bit of allspice. Yeah, I'm going to put some allspice in. Pimento dram. And I'm going to put 2 sorts of rum in this. So, will this work is the big question. I'll put Bacardi and Beanley in it. Beanley. Beanardi. Ooh, that sounds like Corey Bernardi. That's unfortunate. Don't want that. Right. So, okay. A new half dose. So, this will be enough for a couple of drinks. So, I'm going to do 2 ounces of this. I think I got this at Costco. It's a bigger bottle. They probably sell 1 litre bottles at Dan Murphy's. But I think I got it at Costco. And the Aussie Touch. 2 ounces of Beanley, 5-year-old. That's a little bit classy. So, okay, what was the ratio for lime? 2 ounces. So I'm going to put 1 ounce in. Oh, I'm going to have to go shopping and get more limes tomorrow. I'm out of lime juice. There we go. Pineapple. Hopefully the pineapple's still good. Oh, wait a second. Allspice. Just 1 ounce of allspice. Pimento Dram. Such a good name for a drink. Pimento Dram. A wee dram of pimento. Like, okay, that was inevitable. I put it in the wrong thing. Ugh. Hopefully that won't screw things up. It's like, oh, it's got so much. It's like Christmas pudding spices. It's oh, it's so aromatic. Oops, spilling a bit down the side. It's just a little bit syrupy. It's called allspice because it's from a berry. They say it tastes allspice. It's just it changes taste. This normally I like cocktails because with different elements, as you drink it, the different elements come on at different times. This is a single drink. Tastes like about 4 different things in your mouth. Just the taste like cycles through. It's pretty amazing. Put that back. Ooh, want to get some pineapple. Hopefully this is still okay. I will check it before I wreck it. Yeah, looks good. Should be enough. Oh, yes, because it's got lime in it as well. Yes. Alrighty. Am I supposed to put anything else in it? No. Okay. So, 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay. I need to rinse this because that might mess with it. That's probably not a big deal, actually. All right. Or actually, no, I do need to rinse my shoot glass. I don't want to interfere with things. Alrighty. Right. So, 2 ounces of my cream of coconut. Maybe 3 ounces, actually. So I'm getting the coconut in there. So that in there. I'm working on the assumption that adding the sugar to this coconut cream hasn't changed the way it will behave when I add the booze and citrus to it. And I do not know for a fact that is true. The sugar might have performed some sort of chemistry deviltry and changed it. But it's the fat content I want. Unless the sugar broke down the fats. I don't know. That's why I'm experimenting. I'm experimenting with you fine people. We can all learn together. Isn't that what Jesus wanted for us? To all learn together? I think so. So, in the meantime, back to the blood orange juice. Yeah, I think it's working. I think that's curdling. Give it about 15 minutes, and then I'll try and filter it and see what happens. It should be a very tasty beverage. I was worried about how long this would last because, you know, coconut creams you're supposed to use within a couple of days of opening the can. And, you know, how quickly am I going to use that if it's in the fridge? Then I realized that's actually made with ultra heat treated coconut milk that I got from Costco. So it should be fine. It should just last because sugar is a preservative as well. So it should just last. But, you know, if this works, then I'm going to make a really big batch of this because that would be yummy. And that would use up a lot of this anyway. So yeah, the other day I made some cream of coconut and some grenadine because I'd used up all of my grenadine, and I just made small batches of each. I used about I used 1 metric cup of, so it's 2 metric cups. What volume is that? My little converter on here. Volume. 1 metric cup is 250 mils. Yeah, so that's actually about, including, it's supposed to be about 400 mils. Okay. 400 to 450 mils I made. That's slightly more than I thought. Anyway, because I made a lot of grenadine before and probably kept it for too long, and it was going off a little bit at the end, and I didn't notice. And I ate it, and then when it was empty, and there was a little bit of sediment in it, so I didn't drink all of it. Tipped it out, and I washed. I stuck that. It was in my skull decanter, my Crystal Head vodka decanter, and I put that in the dishwasher, and I got it out. And there was little black dots on the inside that hadn't washed off in the dishwasher. Kind of looked like black mold had been growing on the inside of the bottle, like I might have been poisoning myself. So this time when I made a new batch, I made a smaller batch that I will hopefully get through sooner. In fact, I might have a bit of grenadine in my non-alcoholic beverage. Visible chicken. Okay, so your brief Google search also suggests the sugar should mean that doesn't go off. Yeah, I'll also probably use it relatively quickly as well. Because my wordy, if this works, there's a couple of, I was bored just before coming on. I searched coconut cocktail recipes, and I found some good ones. Definitely some I want to try, most definitely. Annette, hello, good evening. So besides rum, which is the really obvious one, like pina colada is the super obvious one, which is what I'm making. So it's in caramel color. And when it's filters, when I do the milk clarification, that'll be a really light yellow, be a light clear yellow. Even if this doesn't work as such, I know all I have to do is redo it with dairy milk, maybe put a bit more lime juice in just to make sure it curdles, and then it will be fine. Because that's what I did before when I made a drink with clarified with coconut milk, and I did not like the taste of it at all. It clarified fine. Technically, it worked fine. I really didn't like the drink. And so I redid. I think I put a bit of extra citrus, a bit of extra sweetener, and then went through the process again with dairy milk. And yeah, so curdled the dairy milk, and I refiltered it, and it tasted much better. So I'm not altogether sure what that is, but so that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Peter, appreciated the tweet tearing into Koshi. Oh my God, he sucks so hard. For those who just in case there's anyone who doesn't know, Koshi is one of the morning TV shows in Australia. He keeps bringing on this racist bag of shit, Pauline Hanson, and they keep having these forums where a bunch of racist white people argue about what is and isn't racist, and they make pronouncements on what is and isn't racist without ever getting anyone in who is the target of racism. And today or yesterday, Koshi is complaining that Victorian Premier Dan Andrews won't come on his show. We sent out an invitation for him and the chief medical officer to come on his show, and they won't come on. That's because he does a press conference every motherfucking day for everyone. You're not important, you fucking fatuous prick. It's just, I want it to be all about me. It's not about you, you stupid cock. And he's too fucking busy because going on that Sunrise bullshit would take an absolute minimum 1 hour out of Dan Andrews' day. And I think he's pretty fucking busy at the moment dealing with a pandemic. I think him and the rest of his fucking cabinet are doing like 18-hour days, 7 days a week. He doesn't need to have time wasted by that fuckhole. Oh, Jesus. I fucking hate trash media. Oh, that's nice. Lee told Pauline Hanson to go fuck herself. She should. Oh, she said because you're autistic, you should jump off Sydney Harbour Bridge. Well, she's a piece of shit. She is an evil, nasty, self-serving, hate-spewing piece of shit. All right. I am just... Oh, slowly a drop comes out. I'm going to try to quickly rinse this because I want to reuse it. Quick rinse-a-roni. Rinse-a-roni, something like that. All right, I got my filter as well, so we're all good to go. Run some water through the coffee filter that may or may not make the drink taste better. Maybe this is based on evidence. Maybe this is based on superstition. Who really knows? I always do the jokes about I'm doing science, not boozing. And I am discovering stuff through experimentation. And but if I really want to be sure, I have to account for variables. So yes, Peter, Channel 7 has a lot to answer for platforming it. Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. Oh yeah, no. They mainstreamed her. It's absolutely vile. Oh, I fucking hate commercial media so fucking much. Ugh. And they wonder why nobody trusts them. They wonder why they're losing money. They wonder why no one fucking likes them. It's just like, dude, the thing is, you suck. You suck so hard. You suck so much. Ugh. It's just, it beggars belief what they do. It's absolutely fucking off. Annette, I also do not watch 7, 9, or 10. Rarely ABC or SBS. Probably ABC the most. I'm mainly watching streaming. In fact, I'm hardly fucking watching anything. I keep saying this. It's true. I'm hardly watching any TV at the moment. I don't feel that disposed to it. Watch some stuff. Some trashy stuff. Like Netflix had some new Rick and Morty episodes. I watched those and enjoyed them. What movie did I watch on the weekend? Oh, it was actually a Netflix movie on the weekend. Their Eurovision Song Contest movie with Will Ferrell. It was funny. It was very light and silly and funny. Anyone who wants to go into it with a hard critical eye will probably hate it. But it was just light and silly and funny. Peter, you finally watched Hunt for the Wilder People on SBS. It's very good. I don't know if it's Taika Waititi's best movie because his movies are so consistently good. It's very hard to pick between them. Like Jojo Rabbit was definitely one of my favorite films from last year. Came out very late last year. Hunt Hunt for the Wilder People is very good. What We Do in the Shadows is very good. He's just basically very good. And it's a fan of the Paxtons. RC, you're in a bit earlier. The recession depression is upon us. How long before we get stories about jobs, snobs, and bludgers? Dude, it started. It's been going. It has been going. Oh, the Paxtons. Sorry, I missed that. Yes, no, the Paxtons. And that was a complete stitch up as well. Surprising. A current affair lies and fucking sets people up. Yes. No, that's already started. There's already stories in the conservative media about, they'd rather be on this increased dole than have a job. And it simply isn't true. And it's fucking vile class warfare. And to which I say, you motherfuckers want class warfare? I'll be at the barricades. Don't you fucking worry. Pieces of shit. I mean, I've got a job, right? I'm working from home. Almost definitely going to sign a 12-month extension for this job. So in one of the most, and okay, nothing's guaranteed. Stuff could go tits up and I could lose it. But for a little while at least, I'll have security. So in the most volatile job market since the Great Depression, it looks like I'm going to be well off, but fuck if I'm going to be quiet about this class warfare bullshit they're doing. No fucking way. These people are fucking evil. And I, for one, am not going to be quiet about what pieces of shit they are. Yep, I think this is going to work. I'm going to have me a real nice pina colada. Oh yeah, no, yeah, that was part of it. Okay, let's do a big backflip for wait. Fuck yeah. Money in my account. It's actually AIDS's money. But he'll be happy because he was finding it too difficult to manage the sign-up process to get the money for his GoFundMe. I was like, okay, if you tell them that I'm doing it, I'll get the money and I'll just, because I've got his account details. So I've been giving him money anyway. So I'm now in charge of the money. So that's good news that AIDS's money is available to him when he really fucking needs it. Yes, so the Paxtons. Deep dark past. Jesus, when was this? 10 years ago? 20 years ago? It was a long time ago. Current affair stitched up these suburban kids. I think they were from the west of Melbourne, saying they were dole bludgers, basically. And they lied to the kids about what the story was going to be. They can say, oh, we want to show how tough it is for you, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And the current affairs audience thought they were all dole bludgers. So a current affair leaned into it and really fucking did a number on the kids. It was 1996. It was that long ago, 24 years ago. Shit. Time flies. Oh, my God. They'd all be in their 50s now. 40s anyway. Oh, my God. I'd love to meet them. Oh, my God. Anyway, so Current Affairs stitched these kids up, edited the thing to make them look like pieces of shit, and then said, oh, we've got you a job. Okay, so they're from Melbourne, right? And with their family here. And, we've got you a dream job on a hotel resort, it's off the coast of Queensland. And it was like, okay, first up, that's taking them away. It was, I don't think it was a permanent job. It was like a casual job. Taking them away from their friends, family, support network for a really insecure job. As RC said, the resort that offered them the job was in financial trouble and had just sort of done this publicity deal with Current Affair to increase the profile. And so the Paxtons said they didn't want the job. Yeah, they did like work experience in this resort, and they said, oh, we want to give you a permanent job, and they went, we don't want to take it. Yeah, it was RC. It was a seasonal job. It was not a full-time job, and they wanted to uproot them. This was their beautiful offer: uproot them, move them literally more than 1,000 kilometers from the family, where they'd have nothing. They would have to set up a new home with furniture, with money for a lease and a bond. So it was basically it was stupid as fuck. I mean, if this resort had money, they should have. Sorry, if this resort had a job, they should have offered it to someone local who wouldn't have to move, right? Not someone who was from 1,000 kilometers away. And so the Paxtons said, "Oh no, we're not taking the job." And they tried to make it look like, "Oh, the horrible dole bludgers." And it was one of the more evil, vile things. And considering all the shit A Current Affair has done, to single this out as one of their worst is quite saying something, because A Current Affair really are pieces of shit. Always have been, always will be. And so, yeah, they'll probably actually regurgitate that exact same story. They'll set some poor fucking kids up, lie to them about what the story's going to be, and then selectively edit the story to make them look really fucking bad. Like, there was this complete fucking piece of shit in one of the papers saying, like, "Oh, it's a bloody hotel and no one wants to come," which is a fucking lie, right? Hospitality, people are falling over themselves trying to get jobs in hospitality, right? Because employment in hospitality cratered, like over 90% of, and this is casuals mostly, over 90% of people who were employed in hospitality lost everything. They didn't qualify for JobKeeper. So people in hospitality are falling over themselves to get work. And this lying sack of shit goes, "Oh, none of these lazy, bludgeon young people will take a job. They'd rather be on the dole and get all that money." And it's like, fuck you, you fucking fuck. Because he was like he was an ex-Liberal Party member. Like, he'd run for Parliament and Liberal parties, and he's just doing propaganda. And it's just like so fucking bullshit. I was like, yeah, okay. These people want fucking class warfare. I'll be there. I will fucking, raise the flag at the barricades. Fuck them. Yeah, so here's a good point. Yeah, the Howard government jumped on the fucking bandwagon of bullying these fucking kids, mutual obligation, and lost the dole payments for a while. It's just like, the whole thing was a farce, and it was cruel. It was just unnecessarily cruel. And that's the thing with these people. The cruelty's the point. They actually get off on inflicting cruelty on people. Okay, this is coming through quite clear, but this first bit I'm just going to put back through to really make sure it's filtered. Get some real clarity happening there. It'll probably take the rest of the stream to drip through. It's just going drip, 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 drip. And it'll probably take the rest of the stream to drip through. Maybe taste test them. But now I know it works. So I can make a bigger one. I may make it for a video. Yes, Peter, two-word horror story, mutual obligation. Yep, and it fucking disgraceful. It was. That's the worst thing. It wasn't just that it was lies and propaganda. It was so cruel. Like, it really fucked up the lives of these kids. It was really fucking evil. I'm just going to rinse this before the coconut milk solidifies in it. Oh, that tastes so good. Oh my god. So yes, this homemade cream of coconut, really good flavor for tropical drinks, really bad for you. This is literally 50% sugar, and of the 50% that isn't sugar, that's 18% fat. So it's like super bad for you. Oh well, c'est la vie. Ah, yes, Annette. Stuart Littlemore going after ACA for weeks, just exposing all their lies. But no one watched Stuart Littlemore, and everyone watched ACA. It's fucking poison. Invisible chicken. Interesting point. This is basically cheesecloth, nut milk bags. But my counterpoint to saying, yes, a cheesecloth will filter out some of the heavy sediment, but I actually need that sediment, the curds, because that's what clarifies the drink. And so if I take most of the curds out, the drink's not going to clarify as well. It takes a while. It definitely takes a while. I am going to experiment again because I experimented with one of these bags and it didn't really work. It didn't filter enough of the curds to be worth it. I put it in the dishwasher, which turns out to have been a pretty stupid idea, I think. But anyway, I was thinking to double bag it, put it through 2 bags, and the combined thread count might catch it. My experiments continue, put it that way. It was either AC or Today Tonight, but they tried to make the single mum out to be living the high life because she had a tablet. Didn't show it was cracked and that she couldn't afford to repair. Oh, no, they're just fucking scum. Like, seriously, when the revolution comes, up against the wall. Absolutely. The shamelessness of which they hurt the most vulnerable absolutely does my head in. And they just recycle the same stories all the time. The dough bludger. Ooh, the you catch germs of everything. Ooh, the dodgy tradie. Ooh, what are they teaching our kids in school? It's just fucked. It's so fucked. I hate them so. It's not even Fox News, man. If I was in the US, I had to put up with Fox News. As it is, I just see like excerpts of Fox News, and that's bad enough. Well, I do see a good meme. I don't know if anyone. It's been hard to miss these pictures that have been all over social media for a day or so of these loony, really rich white people, because a Black Lives Matter protest was walking past their house. And so they did this thing like, oh, the mobs are going to come and pillage us. And they stood out front. The dude's got like an AR rifle. And the woman's got this silly little 22 pistol. But she's got her finger on the trigger, waving it around and pointing, like really bad trigger discipline, really high chance of accidentally discharging. It's a minor miracle it didn't. But there's all these pictures of the guy's just being a dickhead, like, I'm a big man, I got a bloody automatic rifle here, blah, 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 blah. When she's acting like a complete fucking loon, waving this little pistol around, pointing it at people. It's just really freaky. Like, they're very unhinged. I loved there were a million memes about them. But the best one, I think, it was hard to pick, but because there were some very good ones. But there was one that said, with these idiots with their guns, and they captioned it, Fox News did to our parents what they were scared gangster rap was going to do to us. Oh, which really summed it up. Sorry, somebody was saying Bob Down's character pulling pants down. I didn't think that was Bob Down. I thought that was a different guy. I mean, I don't know, so I'll defer to you on that. But I thought that was a different guy. I'm very familiar with Pauline Pantsdown, Backdoor Man. Yes, and that's divide and conquer, set the underprivileged and marginalized against each other. Lee, you threatened to throttle Ray Martin because he told you off for being friends with John Safran. So, because John Safran went through his rubbish like they used to on A Current Affair. Yes, and the Ken and Karen memes, they were very good. Peter, you had to handle a fake gun poorly for comedic effect in a local indie movie. Think you handled better than she did. She was trying to be bad. Oh, that was just like, that's what everyone pointed at. Like, she looks seriously unhinged, and the entire time she's got her finger on the trigger, and because it's a little gun, there's not a lot of room for her finger in there. So the risk of an accidental discharge was really high, really, really high. Sunbed, give up on TV. Focus on social media. Well, today's Social Media Day. I think it's the 10th anniversary of Social Media Day. Oh. A website. It's kind of like a precursor to BuzzFeed. I've forgotten what they were called again. Social Media Day. Social Media Day. So, I've been to a couple of Social Media Day events in the past. Mashable, that's right. And it was like a precursor to BuzzFeed. Mashable launched World Social Media Day on June 30, 2010. So today's Social Media Day. Oh, who did Reddit ban? A shit ton of their really highly trafficked subreddits, most notably the Donald. But they also shit-canned the Chapo Trap House subreddit, the Cumtown subreddit, and I don't know, a dozen others. YouTube shit-canned a bunch of white supremacists, including Stefan Molyneux, which is just fucking beautiful. He is such a piece of shit. Fucking phrenology loving, lying, racist sack of shit. Actually, Annette, I think you're onto something. You're saying with the woman with a gun, she's holding it like a garden hose pistol. I think that was literally what she was doing. She's used to holding a garden hose like that, and she thinks it's how you handle a firearm as well, which is quite terrifying. Lee, you will laugh. She shot herself in the foot. A couple of the images, it looked like she was in danger of shooting her husband because she was really waving the gun about, and he seemed to be in the line of fire every now and then. So there. Invisible Chicken with the Patton Oswalt routine. The raisins are staying in the potato salad. He does have some good routines, actually. He's a funny guy. But yes. Oh, we can kind of laugh at Ken and Karen with their guns because no one got shot, but they look so stupid. But it was so mind-blowingly dangerous what they were doing. Peter, you don't know how Red Pill survived. Well, there mustn't have been anything in the content, because, it wasn't right-wing stuff that got drop-kicked from Reddit. It was stuff that had lots of abuse, hate speech, and calls to violence. So if Red Pill didn't go, the mods must be modding pretty hard because the average Red Pill dipshit would definitely be doing hate speech. Oh, yes, Annette, I did see their house is ridiculous. It's really big and so fucking tacky. It's like the epitome of tacky rich white person decor. Trying to look European. Oh my God, it's hideous. It's absolutely hideous. And I don't know why those pictures are online. Like if those people had put them on Facebook or if it was from a magazine feature or whatever, but they've obviously put them online at some point or allowed them online at some point, either for like a magazine piece or they just had them on their Facebook or something. Oh, yeah, the interior of their house is fucking hideous. Yeah, again, they're really rich. They've got this fucking huge house. Or maybe they're really indebted. I don't know. But, oh, my God, the decor is so fucked. The Islam Mensa on Red. The right-wingers in Mensa get really upset if anyone ever suggests Mensa is anything but for super smart people. Stella, money doesn't buy taste. That is true. Yes, Peter. No, I've recommended that on the live stream before as well. A podcast miniseries, My Year in Mensa, comedian Jamie Loftus. I love it the way she describes it. She, as a joke, did the Mensa entrance exam and was actually accepted. And at the time, she put on social media and said, "Hey, guess what? Good news! Mensa's accepting dumb sluts now." And then she actually went to some of their conventions, and there was a bunch of people who were really fucking hostile to it because there's some real, the online and in fact offline world of American Mensa is dominated by Trump-loving scary people who are smart enough to take a test but too dumb to know that Mensa is nothing but a scam to get membership fees from people who want their egos boosted. So it becomes this circle jerk of them all telling each other that they're special and smart. As Barrett Brown made a comment about it, such a terrible and unforgivable act, this natural urge to protect a home that you've worked for years and years to fill with cocaine. Thinks he's Scarface. Yeah. Stella, they're personal injury lawyers. I'm surprised they were being so careless with guns if they were personally injury lawyers, because they know the lawsuit that would follow if they fucking shot someone. Oh, it's sad. Hey, Catherine. Yes, membership well, let's look it up. Mensa membership. How to join Australian Mensa. Oh, it's only $88 a year. There you go. How to join us? What IQ do you need to be in Mensa? Yeah, okay. How to join Australian Mensa. Try sitting the exam. Or present evidence for qualifying score for an approved standard IQ test. Super prior evidence. Yeah, it's only $88. I thought it would actually be far more than that, actually. Kirsten, you've posted. Stock take is done. Oh, cheers. Wish I had something better than blood orange juice to cheers you with. I almost do. Look at that very pretty colored pina colada coming through. Yeah. Ooh, this is going to taste good. I don't want to preempt myself, but I think that's going to taste good. I don't know. If it goes through, I might even drink it tonight. Put it on ice. Annette, you get full of cocaine, walk out shoeless, mustard stain clothes from. Oh my God. Again, just the guy with his tucked in polo shirt. There was just so much because again, fortunately, because no one got shot, we can laugh. But there is so much to laugh at with them. It was very funny. It's surreal, utterly surreal. But yeah. So yes, that's the world we live in. And God, it's like every day more weird photos or videos come out. I saw a video on Twitter. This guy saying it's just because he's a black guy driving a nice car, all these white people accosted him and attacked his car, saying he'd stolen it, and with no evidence whatsoever. I think there's one woman who looked like a fucking crackhead a real people of Walmart individual started saying it was her car, and the guy's like, "Fuck off, it's my car." And this bunch of white people just started attacking the car and trying to drag them out of it. And it's just like, Jesus, you fuckers would have done a lynching if you could have got away with it. But Jesus, it was just ridiculous. And as the guy captioned the video, what it's like to be black and drive a nice car in 2020. Just get accosted by people on the street. That's the way it goes in this big world of ours. I saw that article too, and it saying Trump's fragile. If his popularity numbers don't improve, he might pull out of the presidential race, which would be fucking hilarious. I don't know. He's so unpredictable. He's so unstable. It's impossible to know what's going to happen. Because it's the weirdest thing. Like, if you can cast your mind back to the far distant time when he actually got elected, he clearly didn't want to win that election. He just wanted the publicity. He looked so fucking depressed at his election night party and inauguration when he should have been happy, and he looked really depressed. Strictly Sega, hello and good evening. Yes, now I don't really think he will withdraw. It's just people talking shit about him. And by all accounts, he reacts really badly to people talking shit about him in the media. So, oh no, Stella, Trump won't withdraw, but his dad should have pulled out. Have you seen pictures of his mum and dad, particularly in later life? They look like refugees from the Addams family. It's very weird. And in fact, not even joking, when you see a picture of Trump's mum, you realize what the story is behind that hairstyle, because it's his fucking mother's hairstyle. He desperately wanted mummy's love. Oh my God. That is a point, Mega Leech. The not running again would be a Trump move, because then he could say he didn't lose. Yeah. But, yep. You think Melania looks depressed? I don't think she looks anything. I think she's got so much Botox. There is no expression in her face at all. Nothing. There is no expression in her face. It's just a sort of featureless plastic mask. Very, very, their whole thing is just super weird and strange. Very strange. Yeah, it's no idea what's happening there. It's the weird times we live in. Yeah, I just don't know what's going on, basically. So now I'm getting really impatient. I think, ooh, maybe I could drink this. And the last bit always goes really slowly, though. It's just going drip, drip, drip. This is it's beautiful and crystal clear. Yes, Stella, I think you're right that the strain is very obvious on Melania. And one is tempted to feel sorry for her, and then you go, no, actually, you literally bought into this. It's a transactional agreement with her, which I personally have no problem if you want to enter into a relationship on a purely transactional basis. But yeah, fucking, you made your bed, lie in it. Okay, still, what happened to the coconut milk filtered through the bag? The bag didn't really filter it because, well, the holes in the bag are too big. But what I am going to do now that So what I did, you must have missed my explanation. This, because the other drink I made was with coconut milk, the really thick coconut milk. And when the bag wouldn't hold everything, it was just going through and it was still really cloudy. I just thought, oh, fuck it. And I just filtered it through the coffee filter. But I think it was your advice that wetting the coffee filter to get rid of sort of a gross surface taste on it. And I did that. And then it was pina colada. I filtered it through it. And it was super yummy. And previously when I did stuff with coconut milk, I didn't like it. So what I've done subsequently is with some of the coconut milk, I made cream of coconut, which is literally just coconut milk and 50% sugar. And you warm it up and it gets more liquid, less viscous, and goes a bit translucent, which is interesting. And because that is both the sweetener and the coconut is in there. So, and it's working, it's filtering. I'm expecting this to be really yummy because that stuff's really yummy. And we shall see what it tastes like. But if that works and is really yummy, I'm going to try filtering with 2 bags because maybe that will work. I'm going to get the bags wet first because that might even make the threads expand a bit. And I'm going to filter with 2 bags and see if that actually catches the coconut way. I don't know if you call it. I'll try that again. I just got me phlegmy in my throat. I don't know if you call it curds when it's coconut milk. Coconut sediment? I don't know. There we go. That sounds unappealing, doesn't it? But I am going to try it with 2 bags and see what happens. Justin, you're all wired up getting your sleep study. Fun, dude. Fun. It's fun that you're joining us from a sleep study. There we go. Oh, there you go. You must have missed the nut bag filter while doing the dishes. I am going to try it again. Like I said, I'm going to try it with 2 bags and see what happens. Because if I can get it to work with the 2 bags, then I can do bigger batches because they'll hold much more. I've got these big drink dispensers up there. I'd probably use them to store it. But we shall see. Yes, it's the Rona, Mega Leech. I got a bit phlegmy in the throat. It's the Rona. Oh, it wasn't your advice with the coffee filter. Someone else must have said it. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was you. But I did it, and I don't know if it worked. To be really sure, I guess, that that's what worked, I should do it again without doing it. Stella, you think spotlight for some cheesecloth? This is pretty fine. These nut milk bags, this is for making like almond milk. The idea is, of course, and almonds are really fucking huge, obviously. The idea is you put the almonds in here and then put it all in water and then just draw it out and sort of squeeze it out, and you've got almond milk. Safa, did I ever lose my L or P plates? No, I did not. I didn't pass my driving test the first time. I had to take it a second time, but I never lost my L's or P's. I have, since having my full license, had the very occasional speeding fine, and I think I've had a red light camera once. Yeah, once. So very, very, very occasionally got the old infringement, but I've never lost my license, L's, P's, or full. So there you go. English, the whole almond or just the nipples. Now that's how you milk an almond. Get a very low stool and warm your hands up and just squeeze those little almond nipples. Peter, you got your license just before P's were a requirement in Queensland. And friends, younger, got pulled over way more than you. Yeah, I mean, God, it got so much more stringent over the years. Seriously, I just missed out on cops doing the driving test because everyone joked. My friends who got their license like 6-12 months before me joked that you go with a local copper, like that's who took you for your driving test, and they didn't give a shit. They'd just be like, "Oh, get in the car, get in the lock, you're right, you're left, you're right." Stop here while I get some fags. All right. All right. All right. And so long as you didn't actually crash while you're out with the cop or run over a pedestrian, you got your license. Like it was a really meaningless formality. But then they introduced the motor registry department, did the tests, and they were a lot more stringent. But even that was so much easier than what people have to go through today to get licenses. So I might have missed the really, really easy way to get my license, but it was much easier when I did it than what it is today. Oh, right. Stella, you think the fact that you can see me through the cheesecloth means there's nothing? Okay. I did, but not from Spotlight. I got some cheesecloth from somewhere, and it was an even coarser weave than this, and it was absolutely useless. So you think Spotlight has proper cheesecloth, the thick? So yeah, there you go. If I hadn't deleted Twitter and Facebook to send you a picture of how many times you folded the muslin to get a good filter. Well, this would be double. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll. Oh, I'm supposed to go into the city for something. I got a notice I got something in the mailbox. I have to go into the city to get it. So maybe 2 bags will do it. Though I can still see through it. If I do this, I can still see the lights through it. I don't know. I probably will try just to see. And it'll be okay if it isn't. Annette, did I know of Speedo Sam, who caught people either Canadara or Dubbo? No, I'm not aware of that one. You just made me think of I forget where it was exactly, but I've done the drive between Melbourne and Dubbo a couple of times. And the first time I did it, and because there's a couple of different ways you can go. I can't remember where this is, but as I approached one of the towns, there was this bit of highway that was just dead fucking straight for a couple of kilometers, like no deviation whatsoever. Absolutely sort of gun barrel straight. And all I could think as I approached, as a country town with this long straight stretch road, go, there is no way the local kids don't use this as a drag strip. And there's also no way the cops don't have this staked out to get the kids who use it as a drag strip. But yeah. So Stella, you going to Perth tomorrow? Popping into Spotlight, grab some fine weave cheesecloth for making ghee and cocktails now. Yes. Yeah, well, ghee's clarified butter. Clarified cocktails it's the same process. It is absolutely the same process. There you go, Annette. Was it Speedo Sam? He caught your mum by tailgating her on a bush road. She thought he wanted to go faster, so she did. That does sound like a country cop. That really sounds like a shitty thing, an absolutely shitty thing that a country cop would do. They're all bastards. But mind you, I'm really good at holding my nerve when people tailgate me. I had a truck hassling me once. I was going the speed limit, and he came right up behind me, and I went, "No, thank you, man." And he actually bumped my rear bumper because I wouldn't go as fast as he wanted. Because, the next time there's a corner or a hill, of course, this fucking truck is going to slow down to half speed. But because there was a bit of straight road, he, wanted me to go 200 kilometers an hour. I was like, no, fuck you, man. I'm not getting busted for you. But yeah, no, he actually bumped my back bumper, and I held my nerve. And this was, I must not have had a mobile phone with me, because I would have, fuck it, if it happened today, I would call a cop real fucking quick. Or Justin, you move lane with tailgater. See, you can't always do that. You can't always do that. Sometimes it's, only one lane each way, and it's not safe to overtake. And of course, a truck can't fucking overtake you. Mind you, I've been known to deliberately fuck with dickheads in cars who tailgate when you're doing the speed limit. Like speed up if they try and overtake and then slow down when they can't overtake. It's a bastard thing to do, but I will admit I have actually done it. But only to real a-holes. Ooh, okay, this is getting there. It's not producing as much volume as I thought it would. I mean, that's okay volume, but I thought it would be more. But there's still a bit to go. Ooh, it's very viscous now. It's sludgy. Oof, might not have gone through by the end of the live stream. Might have to save it for tomorrow. Ooh. That's the thing. I got halfway to asking this and I must have got distracted. So I am going to make a cocktail video for the 4th of July, which is Saturday. So American-themed cocktails. And I could do just pick one cocktail that, is very American. Or the other thing I thought I could do, and I want to see if people think is, am I being too gung-ho, maybe using up too many ideas in one go. But I was thinking, like, I could even do 3 cocktails, one East Coast, like typical New York cocktail, one West Coast, and there would be like a tiki cocktail, and a Southern one, a New Orleans cocktail. And so it'd be 3 very different, but in their own way, quintessential American cocktails. So like for New York, it would either be a martini or a Manhattan. Probably do a Manhattan because I did martini videos recently. I've done 2 martini videos, so it'd probably be a Manhattan. The West Coast, I would do something tiki. And in fact, I might do this, or I might do something a bit more obscure. But something that uses the cream of coconut anyway. So it'd be something tropical-ish. I found some really interesting recipes. Might keep it simple and do a pina colada, and maybe a clarified pina colada, or I might do something else, because I did find some really interesting possibilities when I was looking up coconut cocktails, some with tequila, which I thought sounded like basically making a margarita, but with cream of coconut. And then I want to clarify it, because that would be quite the drink. And then a Southern cocktail, a New Orleans cocktail, something like a Sazerac or a Vieux Carré or something like that. So does that sound like I'm making my life too hard, making 3 cocktails in a video, an East Coast, a West Coast, and a Southern? I am definitely doing it on Saturday night. I'll be doing a live stream on Saturday night, which is 4th of July, and I will absolutely be I'll even do it twice. Do a circle, go East Coast, West Coast, South, East Coast, West Coast. Yeah, I could probably manage that in one live stream on a Saturday night. Stella, for 4th of July, should I scull the beer and crush the can on the forehead? That's not quite my pace, Stella. But yeah, I don't know if it's just to make one American or maybe one American cocktail and then try and do a red, white, and blue shooter, because I saw that as a suggestion. They had grenadine, blue curacao, and vodka. I could try my homemade grenadine, blue absinthe, and something what maybe tequila would be a better option for North America. Try and do a red, white, and blue shooter as a follow-up. And I'm not very good at doing layered drinks. So it might not work. Oh, Lee, it's your son Elijah's first birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to Elijah. That's awesome. Oh my God, I didn't even get that, Mega Leech. Oh my God, an American shooter seems in bad taste. Oh my God. Oh no, and you just know there'd be a mass shooting the day I put the video up. Oh no, actually, no, you've got me there. I'm not doing an American shooter now. Oh my God, that'd be terrible. So you like the 3 cocktails idea? You're just making racist comments about white Americans. Glee, missed out on lockdown, but you don't go anywhere anyway. That's okay. You're practicing. You're practicing for lockdown, Glee. All right, I might do the 3 cocktails because once that idea got into my head, I really liked it. So I will probably do a Manhattan for the East Coast, something tiki-ish for the West Coast, maybe a pina colada, maybe something else. And my cocktail book. What does he say is New Orleans? Sazerac springs to mind. I like a Sazerac. It's funny, I saw one recipe for a Sazerac because there's argument among people who make Sazeracs. Should it be made with rye whiskey or bourbon or cognac for the French history of New Orleans? And he said, hey, I like to cover all bases, make one that's equal parts bourbon, rye, and cognac. And I've never made it that way. That sounds really interesting. So I'm going to say LMN New Orleans 3133. Let me have a look. French 75. No, that sucks. I don't want to do that. 41 and 80. It's on 41. Sherry Cobbler? No. What's on page 80? No, that's not what I want. 90 to 93. There we go. Okay. So these are the New Orleans cocktails he recommends. Absinthe frappe, which is just slightly sweetened absinthe topped with lemonade. Yeah. Cocktail à la Louisiane, rye, vermouth, Benedictine, dashes of absinthe. That actually sounds pretty good. That's a Cajun Manhattan, really. Glee, you want Coles to do you a basic box of booze? That seems like a reasonable request. So, Justin, your dad got shot at once while door knocking. Jesus, you got to be careful with that stuff. So, cocktail à la Louisiane is like a Cajun Manhattan. Actually sounds pretty good. Rye whiskey, vermouth, Benedictine, dash absinthe, dash Peychaud's bitters. A Creole, rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, Benedictine, Amer Picon. That's almost the same. A Roffignac, brandy, rye whiskey, raspberry syrup, red wine vinegar, and topped with lemonade. Okay. Vieux Carré, rye whiskey, brandy, vermouth, Benedictine. There's just slight variations in these ones. Oh no, that's actually quite different. Rye whiskey and brandy and vermouth and Benedictine and bitters. A Bywater, rum, Ameripicon, green chartreuse, falernum. Well, that's getting interesting. That's an unusual one. Rum. I got to think, what's Ameripicon? I've looked that up before. I need to know what that is. And that's on board with a basic box of booze. There you go. I got to look up. I don't know what Ameripicon is. Ameripicon is what? What does it taste like? A dark amber, lives up to its style and is indeed bitter, balanced by bright bittersweet orange flavor. Okay, so it's a bloody bitter aperitif. So it's okay. It's a bitter aperitif from France, distinct orange flavor. It's a French version of fucking Campari. Right, so I could swap that out for bloody. Well, I've got a couple of bitters. Could swap that out for good old Aussie Okar. How much do they say to put in it? 3/4 of an ounce. I might be wussy. Put 1/4 of an ounce of the Okar because it's as bitter as Campari, which is too bitter for me, and then 1/2 an ounce of Okar Gold, which is milder. But the Bywater sounds interesting. Rum, a bitter aperitif, green chartreuse, falernum, and bitters. Fuck, it's really boozy. There is nothing that's not booze in that, actually. That's pretty. These are all pretty serious. They're all really boozy. Vieux Carré, rye whiskey, brandy, vermouth, Benedictine, and bitters. Nothing that's not booze. Roffignac, brandy, rye whiskey, raspberry syrup, red wine vinegar, and club soda. Okay, that's less fierce by a long way. Cocktail à la Louisiane, rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, Benedictine, absinthe. That's all booze again. Whiskey, vermouth, and Benedictine. Oh, geez, that's tempting. Whiskey, vermouth, Benedictine. I'm really torn for a New Orleans cocktail. I'm torn between a cocktail à la Louisiane, a Bywater, and Sazerac. Okay, yeah, Glee and Annette need to get a campaign for Coles to do a basic box of booze. Oh, they do deliver. Kirsten can help with what's in to come up with a basic box of booze, Aussie alternatives. I think we want one like because Coles and or Woolies was doing special deal for people who were for health reasons staying home while the plague is upon us. And Glee was hoping they'd do a similarly discounted box of booze. So for New Orleans, I'm really torn between. I don't think I've ever really made a cocktail à la Louisiane or a Bywater. And they're both really tempting. Rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, Benedictine, dashes of absinthe, dashes of bitters. Rum, Amère Picon, green chartreuse, falernum, dash of bitters. God, they're both really tempting. Dang. Actually, the Bywater could be a good clarified one with the rum and a little bit of bitter and the herbal. I just have to add maybe pineapple, maybe grapefruit. For the temptation is very strong. I could actually, remember with the Bywater. I really want to. I might make the Bywater for a video and then just or the video, but then for my own enjoyment, actually do a clarified version of it. That might be the go. Timothy, you're just mad to see me playing video games. I wouldn't disappoint. I do swear a lot, like when things don't go my way. Be sort of going, yeah, go there, stab that one, sneak up on that one, snipe that. What the fucking cunt? You know, when stuff doesn't go the way I want. Oh, I am very into losing my rag when stuff doesn't go the way I want. Oh my God, there's this really sludgy slurry in here now. It's going to be really slow to drain through. It's less and less liquid, and more. Well, it's the curdled fat from the coconut milk, which sounds gross and disgusting. It was really nice. Like it actually, I mean, I'll even taste it now. So, I mean, you probably can't even see that. It just looks like sludge, but it picks up the taste of the booze. It's sweet because there's so many sweet things in here. It tastes like sweet cream cheese with booze in it, basically. And I save all this in a little Tupperware thing for Mrs. Angry. She's going to make a bread and butter pudding with the curds I've been saving for her. They end up being a very subtle part of it, but you can usually taste it. Like it's the bread and butter pudding doesn't taste like booze, but you know what taste you're looking for. You can actually taste it in there. Dude, you're going to keep annoying me until I make a gaming channel. I have to be completely honest with you. I simply do not have the time at the moment. I could categorically say it isn't going to happen at the moment because I just don't have the time. I'm going to finish off this pineapple juice because there's just a little bit in here. And top it with lemonade. Because I still got ice in my glass here. And because I'm not, I might not drink a juice. I might drink that booze. Put it on some ice, baby. Oh. And who remembers when Vanilla Ice was a complete douche and tried to say he didn't steal the riff from Under Pressure because he didn't want to pay the royalties. It's just annoying when people do that. There was even the rumor some hip hop act did a remix of a Suzanne Vega a cappella track. Diner. It was called Joe's Diner. Yeah, Joe's Diner, Suzanne Vega. Tom's Diner. There you go, Suzanne Vega. Now, I'm going to look up and see if Wikipedia repeats the story that I heard. Namely, British sort of hip-hop group DNA did a remix of it. And the story goes that they didn't want to acknowledge that it came from it. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, Suzanne Vega saying she liked DNA's version. Okay, two British producers entitled DNA remixed it with a hip-hop track, dance beat from soul to soul. It's impossible to get a whole song into a sampler, so I spent evenings cutting vocals a little bit. Without permission from Vega, her record label, or publisher, the duo released the remix on a limited basis for distribution to clubs as Oh Suzanne by DNA featuring Suzanne Vega. Vega's record company at the time decided to buy and release the remix rather than take DNA to court for copyright infringement. A&M struck the deal after consulting with Vega, who liked the interpretation, and DNA, who conducted the transaction through intermediaries without revealing their true identities. The remix became a much larger hit than Vega had with the song originally. One of a handful of tracks in the top 10. Remix also reached number 1, Austria, Germany, Greece, and Switzerland. Music video was made. Surprise hit. No. There was okay, so they definitely did it without her permission. I think that's where the rumor I heard came from, which according to that, it was a false rumor because it's saying they released it, saying featuring Suzanne Vega, even though they didn't have the rights to do that. So there you go. Yes. Who got banned? Oh, well, it's pretty funny. Reddit banned some very highly trafficked subreddits for hate speech, including the Donald Trump one, the Donald, but also some that are left, sort of obnoxious left-wing people, Chapo, Trap House, Cumtown, and a bunch of others that were just fucking neo-Nazi gathering points. And YouTube banned a bunch of white supremacist channels, finally, including famous for being punched in the face Nazi Richard Spencer and Stefan Molyneux, who is a fucking phrenology fanatic and a racist fuck. Oh, Invisible Chicken. God, that was tragic. Down under, by Men at Work, they lost a lawsuit from a publishing company that said they own the rights to the old Australian song Kookaburra Sits in the Old Gum Tree. And they said the flute riff was that ripped off. And the guy who wrote the song, who played the flute, had basically said, yeah, this is Kookaburra Sits in the Old Gum Tree. And what makes me really angry about this lawsuit is it wasn't the songwriter. It was this corporate bullshit. It was just a publishing company that had bought the rights that had been on-sold multiple times. There was no artistic basis for them making the lawsuit. They won it in court, and yeah, it drove the guy to depression and suicide who'd written the song. I hope every worthless, sniveling piece of shit from that company that launched that website just can't face themselves in the mirror each morning. I have every time they wake up, the thought they have is, oh, that's right, I'm such a worthless piece of shit. I drove someone to suicide just because of greed. And fuck them. Fuck them. That was just fucking bullshit. Like, okay, as someone who, has been known to create original content, I think the concept of copyright and protecting artists is important. But once the corporates get involved, fuck off, because no one treats artists worse than record companies and publishing companies. So when they launch copyright lawsuits, it's not about the artist, it's not about the creator, because they don't give a fuck about artists and creators. Nobody treats artists worse than record companies and publishing companies. And yeah, they're just pieces of shit. Oh, now I'm really tempted. Okay, still 20 minutes. No, pineapple juice. And I got this. I don't really care if I drink. I think I should drink this. Yeah, you should drink this. Have a drink. Wait, no, this is 4 shots of rum. I just remembered. I'm thinking it's not that much volume, but no, wait. I'm not drinking 4 shots of rum just before bedtime. No. Mr. Bond, I don't think that will be happening. Well, I might filter it again because it's gone almost all the way through and be even more sort of light and fresh if I do it. And then I can have it tomorrow. It's just me. I was just going to drink that. And I go like, wait, that's 4 shots of rum. I don't think I will. No, thank you, Timothy. Bad influence. Not just before bed. Strictly say, you met the flute player from Men at Work. Always down at the Espy. Yes, chatting up 19-year-olds, talking up that he played the flute on town. Oh, that's tragic. Oh, that is fucking tragic. Okay. Ah, yes. Stella record label tried to sue John Fogerty for plagiarizing Creedence. Yeah. Stella, I would rather have the 4 shots of rum earlier in the night and turn the night into a party night. Oof, when will I do it? I might have that tomorrow night and then not do the 4th of July stuff till Thursday night and then upload it on Friday. And then I'll be there for Saturday. Yeah. I think I'll do that. Because, yeah, if I'm going to make 3 cocktails, I'm not going to drink that and 3 cocktails. Although, I'm saying, I want to clarify. What do I do? I do a Manhattan, maybe that again. And the New Orleans drink that I've never made before, the Bywater. Or should I do the Cocktail à la Louisiane because it's got rye whiskey, which is very American. Ingredients in the Bywater aren't very American, but I really want to make it. Rye whiskey is a bit more American for July 4th, but nothing else American. Well, I mean, you get American vermouths. Benedictine's not American. Absinthe isn't American. And I'm not going to use an American vermouth because I have Australian vermouths. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yeah, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'll give it a day or so to make a final decision. Glee saying he lost his house because of that riff. He was one. Yeah, no, it went very bad. Oh no, Stella, the NBN pigeon just set itself on fire. Yeah. What's that? Invisible Chicken. You hear about the Doyle estate suing Netflix because they have the Sherlock show Emotions. Oh, okay. My first caution would be what's your citation for that? Because often these stories about frivolous lawsuits aren't actually true. Actually, let's just look it up. We're on the fucking internet. Doyle estate suing Netflix. Guess what? There are lots of articles on it. Okay. Arthur Conan Doyle estate sues Netflix for making Sherlock Holmes too emotional. That's the one with Henry Cavill in it. Okay. I haven't seen that. Upcoming film Enola Holmes, which centers around the younger sister. Oh, I haven't seen it because it's not happened yet. Is that right? What was this? Yeah, no, it's not out yet. Okay. Centers around the younger sister of Sherlock Holmes. Henry Cavill. Oh, and Millie Bobby Brown is his sister. There you go. According to the estate, the traits they are filing charges for, including portraying the detective as a person that is able to relate to others, capable of treating a female character with warmth and emotion. Separate court case in 2010 had established that early Holmes novels are in the public domain and are hence not protected by copyright, though the last 10 books by Conan Doyle still remain under the control of the estate. As such, is suing Netflix, Legendary Pictures and more, including the author of Enola Holmes, Nancy Springer, for unspecified financial damages. Nowhere in the public domain stories does Holmes express such emotion about the well-being of his companion, John Watson. Friendship was not created by Springer in the Holmes mystery. Okay. Speaking of things I hate, the estate of dead writers acting like they own stuff. Again, money-grubbing pieces of fucking shit. Yeah, Stella, that's why I wanted a citation for it because it seems so stupid. But Invisible Chicken, spot on the money. It's a real thing. I wasn't even actually aware that Netflix was bringing out this sort of Sherlock Holmes spin-off. Like famously, what's his name is celebrated on Bloomsday. The Irish writer James Joyce is celebrated on Bloomsday. And there was a thing a couple of years ago where the Joyce estate were threatening to sue anyone who had Bloomsday events without paying them money because they own the rights to it. And it's just like, fuck you. I remember reading American writer Cory Doctorow was reacting to it because he has very strong opinions about copyright. And he just said, I swear to God, if after I'm dead, there's some festival to celebrate my writing and my descendants try to stop it from happening, I will fucking haunt them to death. I was just like, oh, it's just Jesus. Oh, Invisible Chicken, Disney and their thing of copyright is straight up criminal gangster bullshit. Considering Disney owes almost all their wealth to the fact they made stories from stuff that was in the public domain, that they've then desperately paid off politicians to continually extend copyright so Mickey Mouse doesn't go into public domain. That is fucking criminal behavior. That is abuse of law. I'm not even using the term criminal metaphorically. It's an abuse of law. It should be illegal. It probably is illegal to the letter of the law. The way the way they've fucking paid off politicians probably is a crime. You just can't prove it. See, Safar, it's complex because stories like Snow White and even Frozen and basically all their animated movies were public domain stories. Probably not all of them, but most of them. So like Mulan is a public domain story. So I can go out and make a movie called Mulan with a different version of the story because the story is hundreds of years old. It's a traditional Chinese story. And in fact, the traditional story is quite different to the Disney story. So I could go out and make a film called Mulan and they couldn't stop me. And in fact, that has happened multiple times. Some of their big ones, like Sleeping Beauty, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, even Frozen and quite a few others. I could go and make a film with those titles and Disney couldn't stop me. But Disney created their own characters. Like the Seven Dwarfs in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Disney invented those names for the Seven Dwarfs. So if you were going to do a version of Snow White, you couldn't have those seven dwarfs because that's a Disney invention. But the actual story of Snow White is public domain. So yes, Stella, they are the evil empire, even though they own Star Wars. Yeah, so Disney suck balls, basically. Yes, they just abuse the law for their financial gain. They are no better than gangsters. They make me very angry because that sort of abuse of something that's meant to protect artists when it's doing nothing to protect any artist, and it's just making the public domain poorer, and it's so hypocritical. So I really hate hypocrisy. I really hate hypocrisy. Yep, no, Disney sucks it. Invisible Chicken, you can't think of a Disney princess apart from Brave that isn't public domain. I am also having trouble thinking of a Disney princess that isn't public domain apart from Brave. And that's Pixar. Even though Pixar is Disney, I don't count Pixar as Disney. Same as I don't count Star Wars as Disney or Marvel as Disney, even though Disney owns them all. The Disney means something else. So if you think they make crappy Blu-rays as well. Yes, Princess Leia is a Disney princess. Yes. Yeah. So while good content is made under the Disney banner, the Disney company has been run by assholes and run in a really shitty fashion for many, many decades. There was the great line in The Simpsons where they basically make the guy who makes Itchy and Scratchy, Roger Myers, the Itchy and Scratchy company as a parallel for the Disney company. And they talk about, there's a documentary talking about Roger Myers Sr. And because Walt Disney was rumored to be a Nazi or a Nazi sympathizer, and there was a throwaway line in The Simpsons when they had a documentary on Roger Meyer Sr. and was saying like he made all these movies and he's going, and I forget how they phrase it, but there was like a slight misstep when he made Nazi Supermen Are Our Betters. It was just this really throwaway reference to Walt Disney maybe being a Nazi. Certainly made me laugh. Just Disney owns Simpsons as well. Why not? They own everything. Yes. Oh, this is just about done. All right. Look at that. Look at that beautiful yellow color. Oh, it's awesome. It was looking like caramel milk before I clarified it. Oh, I love this clarification process. I never get tired of it. All right, but I'm going to run this through again because I'm not drinking it tonight because, like I said, not doing 4 shots of rum just before bedtime. I'm not well, you know. I might do odd and unusual things. And I might have an odd beverage. But I'm not drinking 4 shots of rum before bed. No siree, Bob. But I think I will drink it tomorrow night. I'll leave it in the fridge all day and get it nice and chilled, and it'll be a very tasty beverage, I think. In fact, I think I should just taste what it's like. I'll just taste what it's like. You go and drip over there. Oh, yeah. That is tasting good. That is tasting very good. All right. I'm looking forward to having an icy cold beverage. Oh, Jesus. Yep, that's got lots of rum in it. That's really warm. There was only a few drops. It was really warm going down. That's what she said. Oh dear. You don't want Disney to own fridge. That's fair. Safa, I am very happy I'm not in a lockdown suburb. Not that I go out for. All I was ever going out for was to go to the supermarket. And for the daily exercise, Mrs. Angry and I like to go for a walk around the park. So we do that. And so, yeah, I wouldn't really be breaking lockdown rules if there was a lockdown. We were taking bets on what was going to be announced today. And there were 3 main things that we thought were a possibility, and one of them happened because we thought, okay, they're either going to do a lockdown in those suburbs alone, which is what happened, or they might have said lockdown for all of Melbourne because we couldn't manage those suburbs. They chose not to do that. We also thought they might at least introduce strong advice about masks and say, they wouldn't necessarily say it's a rule you have to do, but they might start, and I think they still might do this one. They might put a very strong recommendation to wear masks when you go out. Like if you go to the shops, or if you're on public transport, or if you have to go to work. I very strongly suspect that's coming. If it doesn't get under control, I honestly think we've got the track record. This is going to be under control. I think inside the month. So, okay, we're going into July now with scary numbers, the worst community transmission since everything started. Because although we had more cases being discovered in the early stages of the outbreak, the majority of them were from people returning from overseas. For the last week, the majority of the cases, the overwhelming majority of the cases that were discovered were from community transmission, not from people returning from overseas. And that's much worse. That's much, much worse. But I will go out on a limb and say we'll have this under control before the end of July, probably sooner. But that's me feeling positive because it's looked a bit scary for the last week, but action's being taken, and I feel quite confident in saying we'll have this under control by the end of July. Like by the end of July, we'll be back to where we were at the start of June, is what I think. So basically no new cases or very few new cases. I'm being positive. I'm being positive and optimistic. It's optimistic angry. But just because we've got the track record, we had the outbreaks, like scary. It's like, fatunch, lock everything down, go, oh, look, and down go the cases. It's supposed to like the US with up go the cases. Not good at all. But I think we're handling it. So we've had this little hiccup. Stuff's got a bit scary. It's looked a little bit out of control. But I'm actually quite optimistic that we'll get it under control. So what are the numbers? 10.5 million cases worldwide, over 2.5 million of them in the US. US about to hit 130,000 deaths. Brazil racing towards 1.5 million confirmed cases. 58,000 deaths. Ooh, what did the little charts look like? Yep, the US one just keeps going up. It has not slowed down since mid-March. Just the rate of growth has just kept going since mid-March. Fuck me, they're going to have a bad time. And Brazil is worse. Ooh, they've got a sharper rise on their curve. Yep. And I think Brazil's also grossly underreporting what's happening because scary fascist Bolsonaro actually wants all the poor people to die. And you're worried about the people refusing testing. I think that's less of a big deal than people are making it out to be. Well, how's Sweden doing? Sweden's still doing way fucking worse than their neighbors. Let's see. Top 10 goes US for confirmed cases. US, Brazil, Russia, India, United Kingdom, yeah, and they're definitely the five hosts. Peru has a lot, and then Chile. Then we get some South American. Peru, Chile, Spain, who I think more or less is under control. Italy has it more or less under control, although it could easily get out of control really easily, far more easily than it was for us in those places. And then Iran and Mexico, Pakistan, France, Turkey, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, South Africa, Canada, Qatar, Colombia, China. No way China's telling us the truth. Sorry. I'm not going to go as hard as some people do, but I just don't find them particularly trustworthy. Sweden, 67,000 cases, 5,000 deaths. So that is not far short of a 10% fatality rate. That's a 9% fatality rate. That's really quite high. Where's one of their neighbors? Way, way, way down the list. Way down. Switzerland. Okay. So Sweden has almost 68,000 cases, 5,300 deaths. Switzerland has 30. So the next closest of the neighboring countries, less than half the cases, less than half the deaths. So the rather cavalier attitude in Sweden is, and also I'm not even sure of populations. Google had in terms of the population size, Google coronavirus map. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Australia has yep. I'm sure they had a thing where they had it per head of population. Per 1 million people. That's what we want. Australia has 339 cases per 1 million people. United States has 8,000. 8,000. So that is basically 200 times worse than us. We have 5 deaths per million people. The US has 400 deaths per million people. That's really fucking stark. Brazil has 6,600 cases per million people and 283 deaths per million people. And Russia, so it's interesting, the top 5 stay the same in terms of cases as a percentage of their population. It's still the top 5: United States, Brazil, Russia, India, United Kingdom. They're obviously in the worst trouble of anywhere in the world. No, wait, that's deaths. It says Peru has a much higher infection rate. 9,000 cases per million. That's even more than the US. And 300. Oh, I see. This is okay. It's fine. Okay. 300 deaths per million. So Peru and Chile are not that far off. America's nearly 400 deaths per million. Peru and Chile are over 300 deaths per million. It's not good. Okay, Spain was 572 deaths per million. And Italy was 560 deaths per million. So that, in terms of impact on population, but they seem to have it under control. But as I want to go to the Scandinavian countries. Okay, Sweden has 6,700 cases per million and 500 deaths per million. So that's a worse death. Sweden has a worse death rate than the US. Sweden actually has a worse death rate than the US. Where are we? Kuwait, Singapore, Philippines, Poland, Bolivia, Switzerland has a death rate of 248 per million. So yeah, Sweden has double the death rate, double the deaths and double the death rate of Switzerland. So yes, that's how Sweden is going. Twice as bad as the worst of its near neighbours. Denmark is way better. So yeah, Sweden and their lax attitudes killed twice as many as their neighbours. And that's I did that. Oh, Kirsten, you know geography better than me. You're saying their actual neighbours are Finland and Norway. I just meant in the same thing. Norway's only got 47 deaths per million. So 47 deaths per million versus 528. So Sweden is 10 times worse than their immediate neighbour, twice as bad or more than the other neighbours. Finland has 60 deaths. So, yeah, okay, with those two immediate neighbours, Sweden is 10 times worse. Good night, Lee, if you haven't already gone. Belarus, I don't know. Oh, there's Belarus. There you go. 6,400 confirmed cases per million, but only 40 deaths per million. How trustworthy are the authorities in Belarus? Because that sounds like shifty numbers. Oh, okay, because you went to Norway, Sweden, and Sweden. Oh, that's right. You've actually mentioned that before. You went there 7 years ago. Yes. Okay, so yes, Sweden is 10 times worse than its immediate neighbours, and more than twice as bad as other nearby countries. So that is what Sweden has done. Sweden, with their casual attitude, has a death rate 10 times worse than their immediate neighbours. So there you go. All right, I'm going to bid you fine people farewell. Good evening, nighty nights, going off to sleepy burbos. After this really depressing, I managed to go the whole time without getting depressing and then finish in. But I'll finish on a bright note and say, I'm going to have a really yummy drink. It's a really pretty, very light yellow. Looks darker there because you can't see it properly. If I put it in a glass, you might see it's just a very light yellow and it's really clear. Very beautiful looking beverage for myself tomorrow night. So thank you one and all. I hope you look after yourself. I hope you keep well. I hope to see you again soon. But I'll say good night from me and good night from him and good night to you one and all. Hopefully see you again soon.